This is Jewish Spotlight, a weekly television program presented by Chabad Lubavitch of Long Island, featuring various aspects of modern Jewish life and Jewish culture. Now, here is your host, Rabbi Tuvia Teldin.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Tuvia Teldin, Director of Lubavitch of Long Island, and welcome to the Jewish Spotlight. We're going to be talking today about what this is. And most of you know, of course, this is a shofar. It's a horn that's used by Jews during the Rosh Hashanah holiday that's coming upon us very quickly, and it's used all over the world. And of course, as usual in the Jewish Spotlight, when we want to find out something and we want to tell you about it, we only bring out the best. So we have with us today a Shofar Factory. And I'm happy to introduce you to a specialist in how to make shofars, Rabbi Michael Albuquerque, who's from Tivus Hashem, a wonderful organization that takes these exhibits around throughout the country, in fact throughout the world, in order to be able to teach our fellow Jews and non-Jews alike what it means to build a shofar. Rabbi Albuquerque, welcome. I see you got a great shofar over there.
Well, yeah, a lot of people think that this is actually a modern shofar.
It's a little easier to blow than this one?
Well, in fact, it is easier, but it's not really a shofar. This is just a toy. A shofar has to be made out of the horn of an animal.
Let's see.
Specifically, as you have one there, it's got to be made from the horn of a kosher animal. I brought some of my friends here to introduce you to some of the kosher varieties of animals in the world.
Like to meet them?
And first, I think we should introduce everyone to the most popular of them all. This is the ram, in Hebrew, the ayil. And the ram is the one that has those curvy horns, about which it's told that Abraham and Isaac happened upon when he was caught in a thicket. The next one is also a very good shofar animal. This one here is a Spanish goat. It's got a beard like myself and yourself, obviously. It's a rabbi goat. It's a Corsican sheep. And then we have over here the pronghorn antelope. This is a famous antelope from New Mexico. Many people have seen it there. It's actually native to the North American continent. And then we have the mule deer. And then we have, just like the horn you were holding a minute ago.
This is quite a statue here.
This is the kudu. It's not a statue, it's actually a mount. And this has the largest horns of all the kosher shofars that you can find around. And it's actually one of those animals whose horns are, in fact, shofar. Not every horn that's on a kosher animal is a shofar. There are different kinds of horns. But let's just backtrack a little bit. The first thing about the animal whose horn we must use on Rosh Hashanah is that it's got to be kosher.
Okay.
Kosher doesn't mean it has an OU or an OK stamped on it. It means that it's, as a variety, as a species, it's kosher, which means it has to have cloven hooves, it has to have split feet, and at the same time, it's got to be able to chew the cud. Chewing the cud is not like chewing gum, or tobacco. It's when an animal eats grass or any kind of vegetation that it finds in the wild, it's not easy to digest, even for a herbivore. Therefore, it's got to chew it again and again, brings it back up, chews it again. That's what makes it chew the cud, as we see oftentimes animals doing. Now, not every animal that chews a cud is in fact kosher, as we can see from the camel. It chews and constantly chews, and it's chewing the cud, but it has pads on its feet. Whereas we have the opposite with a pig. A pig has cloven feet, but doesn't chew the cud.
Right.
All these animals are kosher, and as a matter of fact, a little secret, of all the animals that exist today that are extant in our day and age, all the ones that have horns on their heads, I'm not talking about tusks like elephants, we know those are not kosher, but horns on top of their heads are all kosher animals.
Really?
They all chew the cud and have split hooves. Yes, absolutely. Now,
so why can't we go in the restaurant and have some of this to eat?
Well, it's an endangered species, actually. If you
so
find one,
okay.
Only in Africa. But all these horns are not all shofar. Shofar comes from the word shoferet, which means a hollow tube. If the shofar, if the horn is hollow or hollowable, then it's a shofar. If it's not, it's simply called a keren, which keren means a horn. As a matter of fact, the word horn itself in English is a derivative of the word keren, kuf resh nun, all the same consonants virtually, except for the first one, which is a soft k version, h. So we have the idea of a horn, which is then the general name for all these things these animals are wearing on their heads. However, the antlers of a deer, for instance, we see it has points all along here. It's made out of ivory. And furthermore, it molds these horns occasionally. Whereas an animal that has a shofar, like our kudu, the Corsican, or the ram, they have permanent horns. And those horns are made of a keratin coating over cartilage of bone underneath. In other words, the shofar itself is not made out of bone, and it's not made out of cartilage. It's actually made out of hair, keratin, the same stuff our fingernails, our hair, our toenails, our beard, whatever it is made out of. As far as this animal here, he's sort of in between. While its horn is somewhat hollow, it has a prong. And further up, it no longer remains hollow. And furthermore, if this animal were to lose its horn, it could regrow it from scratch. Again, not the case with the shofar variety of animals.
Did you learn this in biology class?
A little bit there, a little bit in the Talmud.
Okay.
But the Talmud helps a lot to identify these things. So I think what we might want to do now is go ahead and try to make a shofar. Now, shofars can be made from any of these animals. Traditionally, they're made out of the ram's horns, which are these right here. Now, one question people ask very, very often is, gosh, do you kill the animals in order to make a shofar? Absolutely not. We can't hunt animals, because the only way that Judaism allows us to take the life of even an animal is when we need it to sustain a life itself. And that means we have to either eat it or need it for shelter, for a coat, let's say in the freezing temperatures of Alaska. But mainly, the animal has to be killed in a way that causes it the least amount of pain.
Right.
Because there's a mitzvah, a commandment, that's called Sar Baalei Chaim, which means you're not allowed to cause undue pain to animals. And furthermore, there's a mitzvah that applies to all mankind, which is Ever Min HaChai, which means you cannot take the limb off of a living animal for any reason.
Which used to be done.
Yes,
Some people had that practice.
Yes, there were people who did that, and since there was no refrigeration around, they actually used to cut the limb of an animal, put a tourniquet on it, and let it continue living until they're ready for the next piece. And that is something that God does not like.
Okay, let's skip that because my stomach's starting to go.
So let's go on here, and we'll find a way now to make a shofar from scratch.
All right, great. What's next?
Next is, once we've got the horn off the animal, again, once it's been killed in a kosher manner, which allows us to eat it later on, and causes the least amount of pain, incidentally.
Right.
So then we can begin to process the horn to remove the cartilage, and then cut it, measure it, whatever it takes to make it into a shofar. I usually don't like to do all this work myself, especially when we're displaying. If you don't mind, can we call some volunteers from the audience?
Sounds good to me.
Can you guys come up, please? Let me show you what I have here. Inside of this pot, I have a horn from a ram that was cooked for a very long time in chemicals. And as you can see, it has a piece of cartilage still stuck inside. That piece of cartilage needs to be removed. Now, Yaakov, do me a favor. Put on these gloves, please. You're going to have to help me out while I do the talking. There you go, Sarah. And once you get the gloves on, what you will do is Sarah, you'll hold on to the shofar. Hold on to it tight. Yaakov, I want to give you a pair of pliers to do some work here. You're going to grab onto that piece of cartilage and pull it out. It'll come out more or less easily because it's been cooked for so long that the sinewy material that attaches the horn, the shofar, to the cartilage has already melted away, and we are now ready to start making a shofar. Hold on real tight.
Good.
There you go. Yaakov,
Yaakov,
grab on to that white piece of cartilage there.
This is good practice, Yaakov, for becoming a dentist.
Now pull it out. Oh, there he goes. Don't drop it now. There you go. You see that? Now which one is the shofar, Sarah? Which one is the shofar? This one or this one? This one is the shofar, and this one is just the cartilage. We cannot make a shofar out of this, so we'll just put that back in the water. Like everything else that applies to mitzvahs, we have to have a shofar that's clean. Sarah, you know what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
I'm doing your job. Hold on to this. I'm going to dip this in this hot water. And what I'd like you to do, Yaakov, is scrub that out the same way you scrub out your baby bottle for your brother or sister. There you go. Scrub it real good. Yeah, there you go. It has to be clean. You don't want to have a dirty shofar. And as a matter of fact, if you have a shofar at home yourselves, you could go ahead and take one of these baby bottle cleaners and clean it out and be ready for Rosh Hashanah, no problem. And there'll be no smell, no mess, right? Let's see, is it clean enough now? Oh, yeah, let's have a smell. Well, all right. Okay, good. Thank you. You can take off those gloves now. This horn, now that it's very, very wet, is not really ideal to go making a shofar out of it because it'll be very difficult to go cutting and drilling, which is what we're going to have to do to make it into a shofar. So we're going to go ahead and use a different shofar to make that happen. The one that most people are ready to make a shofar out of would be one like that, but dry. Now, you guys would like me to make this one into a shofar, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But there's a problem with this. You see, this one here, if I were to cut off the end and put a hole and start blowing into it, I want to start blowing right into my own ear. We don't want that. So what professionally is done when you make a real shofar, the shofar itself is put into boiling hot oil. That makes the shofar so soft, like lasagna, like macaroni. So you can straighten it out, put it into a vise, and it'll end up like this shofar right here. Which this shofar comes from an Angora goat, which is a sheep goat, which is the same as a ram, virtually, except that it already has that easy shape, so when we blow it, the sound will go where we want it to, right? The next step is, now that we've got a nice dry shofar that we don't have to go cooking in oil, you wouldn't want me to start cooking shofars in oil here in front of you, would you? No, we would not. We're going to take a curved wire. You see this wire is curved. You know why it's curved? Can you think of a reason why it might be curved?
Because this is curved?
Because the shofar is curved. Exactly. Very good, Yaakov. So we put this all the way down
You can
as
stand a little bit
far
over there so you can
as
see.
the shofar goes. And when it stops, we pinch the end of the shofar. Pull the wire back. Well, swallowed it. There it goes. And we measure on the outside. Now the shofar has two sides. It has the belly, which is nice and round, and it has the spine. We want to go along the spine, which is basically the trajectory of the hollow of the shofar. It'll come up to about here. So we're going to need to cut the mouthpiece of the shofar right about here and be able to drill and make a sound canal. Now, Yaakov and Sarah, I need your help. How about you putting on these gloves, and you'll put on these gloves. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to put the shofar right here across the edge of the table. And what you guys will do is, while Yaakov holds the shofar down on the table like a vice, strong, right? Sarah, you're going to cut the end of the shofar off right there. You'll press down on the tip so that the shofar will have its little end missing. Are you ready? Okay, Yaakov,
Okay.
2 hands over here.
Hold on
Hold
tight.
on real tight.
Careful.
Sarah, you position your saw right in there and start sawing. Press down on that tip. There you go. There you go. Just pretend you're playing a violin. Press the tip down. Yaakov, hold on real tight. And keep sawing away. There you go. I see all that dust coming out. Oh, you're good in the garage, I bet, huh? Helping Dad. There we go. This takes a little while. Now, if Sarah were to cut in the wrong spot and cut right into the hollow of the shofar, we would have a major problem. Because you see, a shofar can only have 2 openings. One opening from which to blow in, and the other opening from where the sound will come out. If there is even one crack, the smallest fissure inside into the shofar, where the hollow is, that shofar would be unfit for use on Rosh Hashanah. As a matter of fact, if some of you people would like to check to see if your shofar is kosher, if it has any cracks or any holes, there's an easy way to do that. What you do is you take your shofar and keep sawing, Sarah. You don't retire yet. You know, I'm also working here. Keep going. Press the tip down. There you go. What'll happen is if there is a hole in the shofar, you'll find out like this. You'll take your shofar, put your finger over the mouthpiece, fill it with water, and then if it leaks, what will you do? Yaakov, call the plumber, right? No, you won't do that. You will know that the shofar has a hole in it. And if it has a hole in it, can we use it on Rosh Hashanah? Absolutely not. We are going to have to get another shofar. And if anybody has any ideas, oh, I have no problem. I have some epoxy in the garage. I'll fix that right up for Yaakov. Hey, no problem, Sarah. You made a mistake. We'll fix that. Are we allowed to fix a hole in a shofar? No, we are not allowed to do that. We must have a shofar that is complete, that has no cracks, no holes, because a slightest cut in the shofar will be making a major problem.
Let's
Come
get
on,
some
let's
help
give
over
Sarah a
here.
little help here.
That's it.
Uh-oh, I think
Almost
we've
there,
got it.
Sarah.
We've
Okay.
got it.
Knock it off. All right.
Oh, no. I can't believe this. Right here on the set, on television, Sarah's lost her baby tooth. Did you ever see such a thing? Is that your baby tooth? No, oh, I'm sorry.
Are you
That's-
exhausted?
Huh?
Are you exhausted?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's all red. This is actually the tip of the shofar, you see. This is not her tooth, but it looks like a tooth. Some kids like to wear these things around
Like
their
a
necks.
shark tooth.
Like a shark tooth. Can you imagine that? He didn't brush his teeth. It's all yellow, you see. So we don't need that anymore. Now, you guys, sorry, you can take off those gloves if you'd like. You keep yours on. What we're next going to do is, so everybody knows what to do with the shofar in case it has a crack? Don't use it anymore. The next step is actually drilling through. Now, this is basically the most dangerous part of this whole job, and the part that scares me the most. And I usually do this with an adult assistant, and we do this together, and we've done it like thousands of times, but since my assistant is busy back there, so can you help me out again, Yaakov? Are you brave? You step right up here, because we don't want you to run away or anything. This is going to be kind of rough. Yeah. Put these goggles on. Yeah, I guess you don't know what these are for, do you? Can you see better now? Worse. Okay, what Yaakov is going to do is, let's adjust this on your nose. There you go. How's that? Good?
Good.
Put one foot behind the other so you stabilize yourself real good there. There you go. Just grab onto this. Pretend you're holding a shofar. All right, back up a little bit. Extend your arms. There you go. Now, are you ready for this? Sarah, do you like your brother? Yeah, you do. He's okay, huh? All right, here we go. What I'm going to do is I want to use a drill here. You see, before I started making shofar as a hobby, I was in medical school studying dentistry. You know what dentistry means? You know, dentist, you do teeth. Say,
yeah.
is your teeth? You're not scared, are you? No. Okay. What I'm going to do now is, Yaakov, you're not scared, are you? You really are not. Don't be scared. I want to drill down from this flat end of the shofar down into the hollow. Now, this bit is awfully long, right? If it goes through and starts tickling your hands, you just say, ouch. I'll stop right away. Okay? Here we go. This is easy. Here we go. Yaakov, can you see if you can blow through this thing now? Just have it blow through there. Real hard. Were you smoking today? Do that again. Did you see that? Oh, I know what it is. This hole, is it big enough for that? No. Yaakov, hold on again and just keep being brave like you've been until now. Hold on tight again. We're going to use another bit here. This is a cone bit. It'll now expand the mouthpiece, yet leaving behind a very small sound canal so we can compress a lot of... We'll be able to compress a lot of sound into that. Now let's have you give a blow through that now. Just get some air through it. Make sure it's empty. I knew you were smoking. Is your mom and dad out there still? Oh, okay, that's what it was. Sorry, I thought you were smoking. Now, the last thing to do is, this mouthpiece is awfully sharp, isn't it? It's hurting your lips, wasn't it? I bet it was. Let's step right over here and try to clear out some of the little sharp edges there, okay? We also have to look very carefully to make sure there are no cracks on the shofar. Those cracks on the shofar, if they extend just a little bit too far, they could affect the sound of the shofar. And if the sound of the shofar is not simple and plain, then we've got a problem, don't we? We've got a serious problem, because the sound of the shofar is supposed to be very, very simple, and we'll talk about that in a second. Now, the next thing I'd like to do, Yaakov, have you ever been a shofar blower in a synagogue? Haven't been? When you'll be bar mitzvah, maybe you'll want to be. Maybe they'll ask you to be. You got to get ready for that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yaakov, you want to take off those goggles? You look funny in those. Oh, okay, good. Your sister couldn't recognize you for a while there, I see. Blowing the shofar looks a lot harder than it is. Rabbi Teldon did a great job of blowing it, and he blew this big one. You think you could do the same thing?
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, take off your gloves. Let's see how you can do if at all. You ready? How ready are you? Really ready. Hold it in your right hand. When we blow the shofar, we have to hold the shofar in our right hand, not in our left hand. And I've seen people blow the shofar sort of like this. Well, that's wrong. You have to hold the shofar like this. Up to the right. Right. Now the shofar is blown not by just blowing through it, and we don't put any fancy little pieces inside. Okay? I know some people expect the mouthpiece to work. It doesn't work that way. Are you ready?
Sort of. Yeah.
Sort of. Okay, we're going to have to practice. Take 2 fingers, like a peace sign but closed. Hold it over your lips on the left side. No shofar yet. Let me see you go. That's a lead-up skill for learning to blow the shofar. Do that again. Well, let's see here. Can
That's
you
a
do
great
this?
job. It's real talent.
Can you do this a few times? The first time, I want you to try to blow, without the shofar, try to blow it so it's like a straight, long call. Da, like that. Good. The next time, you're going to blow 3 broken sounds as if this one was divided by 3. Da, 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 like that. And that's going to be called a shivarim sound. Go ahead. Not bad. A little longer next time. Now you're going to have to really do something. 9 times. Real quick. Da, 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 like cavalry. At the charge. Ready? Oh, you're going to have to break them up a bit more. And finally, 1 long, long tekiah again. You ready? Okay. Now, hold up the shofar to your lips. Now, that spot on which you're getting that sound coming out is where I want you to put the shofar and see if you can get it to blow. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Here we go.
Yaakov.
First, the sound. Okay, now, right on that spot. Keep your cheeks in, otherwise you look like a monkey and it won't work. Wait a second. Let's try it again. Get that sound together. That spot is where I want the shofar opening to go. Go ahead. Again. One more time, long.
That was great, Yaakov.
What
Put it there.
Great job.
That was wonderful.
Fantastic. This is the way to blow a shofar. I got to hand it to you. You did a great job. By the way, let's figure out a few things about the shofar here. Is it straight?
No.
No. Can a shofar be straight?
Yeah.
Nope. It's got to be curved. You know why?
Why?
Because the idea of Rosh Hashanah, which is when we blow the shofar, is that we have to sort of bend ourselves and think, who do we have to think about first? Do I have to serve me first? Or do I have to serve God first? The idea is, right. But what does the little voice inside of us say? Me first. Look out for number 1. But who's really number 1? God, Hashem. So therefore we have to be able to bend our hearts. And when we see the shofar bent like that, we know that we have to bend ourselves a little bit when it's necessary. And also, can we decorate the shofar with all kinds of fancy gold and silver adornments, like around here, a silver mouthpiece? Could we do that?
No.
No, because the shofar is humble. Because the shofar represents the sound of every single Jewish person. Not just of a wealthy person or a poor person, but every single Jew, every single person hears the shofar as if it's his own voice, the voice of his soul calling out to God and saying, Hashem, God, I want to be close to you. I feel far away from you. I feel lost without you. And that's why the call of the shofar sounds like a call of a crying baby. Because really, we're all like little babies in front of God. And when we blow the shofar, we're calling as if we're all equal in front of God. So that's why we don't decorate the shofar in a very fancy way. Now, the shofar that Rabbi Teldon was just blowing at the beginning of this program was a kudu horn, the horn from this particular this particular animal. This animal is a native of Africa, and they're being, here, have a look at him. Stand right here. Yeah, let's be friends. This guy here is in an area called Yemen, and the Yemenite Jews blow this horn, not because they don't have any sheep in the region, but because they feel this is the most important horn to blow. Whereas the shofar of the ayil, of the ram, represents the self-sacrifice of Yitzchak and his dedication, and Avram's as well. The Avram and Yitzchak's dedication, Abraham and Isaac's dedication to God, and self-sacrifice and willing to do anything to do what God wants us to. The Yemenites have a different idea. In the Amidah prayer, which we say 3 times a day, we say, Tekah b'shofar gadol, sound the great shofar, lecherutenu, to our freedom. And the idea is that when Mashiach comes, when the Messiah will come to the world, he will announce the time of the redemption with the sound of a great shofar. And that great shofar is really a spiritual shofar, but we see that the Yemenites want Mashiach to come so soon that they themselves remind Hashem every Rosh Hashanah to send Mashiach and the redemption immediately by blowing this great big shofar.
Okay.
Could you hold this up for a second? And we'll have all the sounds of the shofar that we need to hear on Rosh Hashanah and throughout the month of Elul.
All right. Rabbi Albuquerque, that was great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I get to keep this?
Oh, well, we can talk about that after the show.
Okay. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you, Yaakov and Sarah. You were great. Thank you very much. All right. And we'll speak to you afterwards about making a contract for a regular appearance on the Jewish Spotlight. All right? Okay. Thanks very much. In the meantime, everybody, it's been a pleasure. Don't forget, it's very important. This is a month of Elul. It's a month of returning to Hashem. It's a month of preparing for Rosh Hashanah. It's a month of trying our best to be as good a Jew as we possibly can, right? So what are we going to do? During the whole month of Elul, did you know that in synagogues all over the world, every morning after services we blow the shofar? Some people think we only blow the shofar in Rosh Hashanah, but every morning we blow the shofar. So it's a special time to go to the synagogue more often and to try to add on to our mitzvahs and to try to make sure that we know that this year is going to be the best year that we ever had, because we're going to add on to mitzvahs. We're going to do what we can, each one of us, to bring Mashiach quicker and to be able to make the world a better place. And how do we make the world a better place? By doing more
Mitzvahs.
mitzvahs. Ah, you guys are great, I tell you. Okay, so listen, thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Rabbi Albuquerque, it's been a pleasure. Really enjoy it, and you should have a lot of success in what you're doing, because this is really tremendous. And of course, we've had you out in Long Island here many times, and every single time you come out, the parents love it, and the kids love it, and everybody loves it. So you're really doing some tremendous work over here. And in the meantime, don't forget that Judaism has a tremendous amount to offer you. It's not just a shofar, and it's not just going to synagogue in order to be able to sit there and be able to open up your prayer book. It's a matter of the feelings of the heart, of bending ourselves upwards, because each one of us as Jews can grow and can bend ourselves upwards to do more mitzvahs and more good deeds and be able to continue to bring light to our families and our community. So, till the next time we see you for the Jewish Spotlight, take care of yourselves, and shalom. And don't forget one other thing. We have a super phone here in Long Island, also sponsored by the same organization that Rabbi Albuquerque is from. Just call 76 Torah, and you'll be able to find out more about Judaism in preparation for the new year. All right? What do we say to everybody? Shalom?
Shalom.
Shalom. Okay.
Sisu besimchu besimchas hagiulu, hine Moshiach bo.